What is up, Edison duelists? This is Dionysus, aka Young Puds, coming at you guys with the final match of round one of the shameless Hype Beast Gigavise Invitational Charity Championship. Anyways, this is an exciting one. We have none other than ProStorm, arguably the greatest, most powerful Edison duelist on the planet, facing off against the Duck Murderer, a very, very powerful duelist in his own right. This man does have that coveted Duel Devastator light blue tag on Discord. You love to see that. You know that someone that has that is a powerful, powerful duelist. Both have been early adopters to Gigavise. I've seen Duck Murderer hopping on the deck even when we were still in the plants channel, and of course ProStorm arguably has done the most for popularizing the deck, daring to take it to FL Worlds last December. So before we get into the match, let's take a quick look at the duelists deck list. We are seeing this deck list here from Duck Murderer. Big standouts for me immediately. We are on just 2 Miracle Fertilizer to make space for both a Sangan and a Gores in the main deck. Seeing no Solemn Judgment here, but we are on both Torrential and Mirror Force, so both of our big power traps, and of course Dust Shoot as well. In the side deck, I am seeing a Vanity's Fiend, which could be very relevant. I'm also seeing Cactus Bouncer, which I really think could be making waves, and then of course we have the standard autonomous action unit. We are also seeing a Thought Ruler Archfiend in the extra deck and only 1 Black Brute Drago. Now, other than that, this is looking like a very solid standard Gigavise list. No crazy spice. So far in the tournament, these are the types of lists that have been successful 3 times out of 3. What will Duck Murderer be facing off against today? Folks, it looks like it's going to be another standard Gigavise list. This time, we're not going to see any copies of Gores in either the main or the side deck. The spice we're seeing here is going to be not 1, but 2 Cactus Bouncers. Could this be the card that decides the match? Folks, I think this card is fantastic, and if I'll be honest with you, I would really like to see it come into play. I'm also seeing no Thought Ruler Archfiend in the extra deck. From ProStorm, we are seeing just 2 Power Tool Dragons, 2 Stardust, and then the second Brute Drago. But this is looking like a very standard, clean list. I'm seeing no Trap Dust Shoot. I think that makes a lot of sense. There's so many times, you know, where Gigavise is just blanking Trap Dust Shoot. You're just looking at 6 spells and traps, so why even risk that? I am seeing the main deck MST, which could be very good, and then 2 Miracle Fertilizers as well. So pretty balanced decks, very slight differences between them. The Solemn Judgment could be the difference maker. Also seeing that Starlight Road in the side deck. I don't know if we'd be bringing that in the mirror match, but you know, it could be a surprise blowout. So folks, without further ado, let's just get into the match and see who comes out on top as the superior, shameless Hype Beast Gigavise duelist. So looking at the opening hands here, we are seeing pretty balanced opening hands. This Mark of the Rose DDR combo is going to be super deadly. However, ProStorm is on the draw and does already have that Lonefiwe access. So that's going to be pretty strong, especially when we do draw that Super Solar Nutrient here. There are quite a few combos. I am immediately thinking of something like Lonefiwe. Yeah, I'll be honest, I was thinking Lonefiwe into a second Lonefiwe and then like Gold Sark, the Dandelion, so then you can use your Super Solar Nutrient and really extend further. But it looks like we're just going for a pretty straightforward play here. No need to overextend, just Gold Sark into Miracle Fertilizer. I think that makes a lot of sense too here, folks. And then Duck Murderer is going to follow that up with a Sangan set backed up by a Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, which, if nothing else, will trade with the Titanial. And indeed, that is going to be what we go for here. ProStorm wisely choosing to negate the Phoenix Wing Wind Blast to put it in the graveyard instead of risking it for a draw. And then we are going to see a Sangan set. It is still going to be very live to search another Lonefiwe Blossom, or honestly, folks, even a dandelion might not be the worst thing. So we're going to see a Mirror Force draw from Duck Murderer, who is then going to go ahead and set that Mirror Force and pass. This going to mean ProStorm is going to get his copy of Miracle Fertilizer and pick up a Torrential Tribute as well for turn. So definitely some options here, definitely some plays. You know, you could go for Fertilizer just to bring the Titanial back out. That would pretty much lose to the Mirror Force. You could tribute the Giga Plant over the Sangan and get your second Lonefiwe Blossom. Definitely a lot of options here. And I gotta say though, folks, none of them seem particularly strong. And in fact, we're gonna go for Tribute Set Giga Plant. Very interesting play here, folks. Picking up a Dandelion. So wanting to get Dandelion live for the Super Solar nutrients and not wanting to leave a face-up Giga Plant and risk Mark of the Rose. Very conservative play. Very heads-up dueling, if you ask me. And then Duck Murderer is going to go ahead and pick up a Lonefiwe Blossom. So fantastic opportunity here to try and make a big push and win the game. And meanwhile, however, ProStorm is going to have the opportunity to Torrential Tribute here. The fact that we only went for one Lonefiwe Blossom and there is this set that's kind of been stuck on the field, that I think does telegraph pretty strongly that this could be a Sangan. However, so ProStorm is going to choose not to Torrential here, instead trying to see if Duck Murderer is going to extend further, and indeed he is. He's going to go ahead and equip that Supewvise, which is going to bring out Lonefiwe Blossom, which is then going to go right into Titanial. And at this time, ProStorm is going to think again. What do you think, folks? Would you flip the Torrential Tribute here? That would mean Gigaplant is going to come back. You would also lose your Gigaplant. However, you would also get the Titanial off the field. So that could be the difference maker. Instead, we are just going to see a Sangan bump into the Gigaplant, taking 200, and then Gigaplant runs over Gigaplant, and Titanial gets in for 2800. So I think now what we could be going for is something like Dandelion Summon and then flip the Torrential. And folks, this is why ProStorm is is that good. Setting up for opportunities like this are just amazing. Now we're going to get the most possible value out of that Torrential, clearing the entire board, leaving a Gigaplant up, which is just going to be fueled for that Mark of the Rose, and then both of those Super Solar nutrients are going to be live. This is just a really fantastic position for ProStorm to find himself in. All he's going to have to negotiate is that Mirror Force, and this could very well be game point. So we are going to see Mark of the Rose activating here, banishing the Gigaplant, and that's going to get that DDR live. And now we're going to be able to see the Copy Plant and the other token making a Power Tool Dragon in attack position, searching that Supewvise, which is going to be a guaranteed Supewvise. Wow, folks, this is just some real high-octane Gigavise dueling here. We are going to see the Supewvise equipped onto Duck Murderer's Gigaplant. Lonefiwe is going to come out and summon a Nettles. And then ProStorm admitting to making a mistake here. I guess perhaps he was thinking that Supewvise would be able to bring back Gigaplant, but of course there is no target in there because Gigaplant was banished for Mark of the Rose. So very unfortunate, and that is going to mean Duck Murderer is going to get another turn. So there you go, folks. There you have it. The high octane content is going to continue, and it is going to be kicked into overdrive because Duck Murderer has picked up a Super Solar nutrient. So off the back of that chance that he's been given, he's going to go right ahead and Mark of the Rose, the Power Tool Dragon. That's going to be especially strong because he's going to get a big search of his own. Either of these equips are going to be good here. He will pick up that 66%, rounding up to 100%, getting himself a Supewvise. We're going to see 2 tokens come out, and then Gigaplant is going to get summoned as well. And now we can just very, very swiftly go for Lonefiwe into Copy Plant here. And are we going to see a Mistworm? We are, in fact, going to see a Mistworm synchro summoning with his opponent's Power Tool Dragon, covering for every contingency. That is going to clear the way, and then we can just Super Solar Nutrient for Nettles here, and that is going to be GG Game 1. Let's move into Game 2 and see if these duelists' side deck can carry them in. So, pretty unfortunate misplay from ProStorm in that Game 1. However, I'm seeing another pretty strong hand here or 2 with this Mark of the Rose DDR combo and Super Solar Nutrient. So the Lonefiwe access is just moments away, and once it hits, ProStorm could come down very strong. However, Duck Murderer, by his own part, has opened up pretty strong as well. That autonomous action unit is a constant threat, and he does have that Lonefiwe access already. So it looks like he's just going to go ahead and Lonefiwe or Foolish Burial to get the Dandy to fuel that Lonefiwe Blossom, and he is going to do the Amaryllis type play, as you could call it, and Lonefiwe for Lonefiwe into Titanial, which is just not going to be stopped by that MST. I gotta say, folks, this always feels a little risky to me, putting this up in the mirror match. It's obviously very, very strong, and if it sticks, you're gonna win. However, if your Titanial gets outed, and then your opponent has Mark of the Rose for your Lonefiwe Blossoms, that can spell disaster. However, drawing that Super Solar Nutrient, that is not going to be enough, and it looks like ProStorm is going to head and admit defeat. GG to Duck Murderer with the upset win, taking him into round number 2, the semifinals. So shout out to both duelists. It is always good to see high quality Gigavise content like this. Thank you both for participating. And I am looking forward now to the semifinals. Looking at our matchups here, we have Chess Prime 1 versus Duck Murderer. This is going to be a very exciting match, and even more exciting, we have none other than Beach Dude versus Vivaria. So who is going to go ahead and make their way into the finals? It could be anyone's guess. Make sure you vote now on your phones. But in all seriousness, definitely drop a comment. Let me know who you are cheering for. Let me know who you think is going to take the dub. And I will see you guys very, very soon with more shameless Hypebeast Gigavise content. All right, thanks everyone.